What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about the game last night between Cam Newton and the New England Patriots versus Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Which one stood out to you more?
To me, it was Cam Newton. And the reason why is because when you look at Russell Wilson, that's what you expect.
I agree.
Didn't know what to expect from Cam Newton. I mean, the fact of the matter is 397 yards passing, basically being responsible for 95% of the Patriots offense, running for an additional 47 yards, if I remember correctly, throwing under pressure, going after Jamal Adams, at least 4 or 5 times for about 128 yards or so. I mean, Cam Newton showed up, and he was throwing the ball with accuracy. He was throwing the ball under pressure. He wasn't shying away from guys on the defensive side of the ball that you normally want to shy away from, like Jamal Adams. He was running the football effectively. He was throwing it effectively. I even talked about how he looked Tom Brady-esque out there at times. I mean, that's how accurate he was throwing the football. I do not like the last play at all. It really bothered me. And first of all, with Seattle, even though they didn't have the 12th man there because there was no crowd, the bottom line is Seattle's an experienced defense. They knew what Cam was doing. Cam said it himself. You might have went to the well a little bit too much.
I definitely agree with that.
Exactly what I thought. That's not the play you call in that situation, particularly when, the touchdown earlier, Cam faked running and threw a short touchdown. You saw that you could do that. You could keep Seattle honest like that. But to go to that play in that situation, I thought was entirely too transparent. I know people say that's their bread and butter in Cam's career. 2 yards are in, rushing in. He's 16 for 20, if I remember the number. But in the end, with Seattle, with Pete Carroll, with that defense, you don't call that play. You don't call a transparent play. You've got to throw. You got to try to fool them just a touch there. And I thought that's where they made their mistake. But I thought he was absolutely fabulous. And the reason why I thought about him more so than Russell Wilson, I think we've all resigned ourselves to who Russell Wilson is. In the case of Cam Newton, there was so many question marks. Somebody like myself even pointed out he completed 67% of his passes a couple of years ago with North Turner. But outside of that, only 2 times in his 9-year career did he complete over 60% of his passes. So throwing with accuracy has been an issue. That has not been an issue in his couple of games with the New England Patriots. Certainly was not an issue last night. And that's what stood out with me. Cam Newton plays like this. Obviously, the Patriots are going to win the AFC East, and we're not going to be just talking about Kansas City and Baltimore in the AFC.
First of all, that's the best football.
So I definitely agree with Stephen A. Smith there. I'm so happy Cam Newton had a great game, even though they lost. He really showed me a lot, answered a lot of questions. I mean, he looked like he was having fun out there. He looked happy. He looked poised, and he was just balling out there. So let's take a quick look at New England stats real quick. So Cam Newton went 30 for 40 for 397 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. His QBR was 73.2. He ran the rock 11 times for 47 yards and 2 touchdowns. Julian Edelman caught the rock 8 times for 179 yards. I think that's a career high for him. So needless to say, Cam Newton had a pretty good game, and he did it against the Seattle Seahawks, which are some ballers. So let Cam Newton get some weapons, and they're going to be even more dangerous. They're going to be a major problem. So let's continue.
Football game I've seen in a long felt like the execution of 2 really, really good teams, 2 great coaches, 2 great quarterbacks. I'm not surprised by Cam at all. Look at what he looked like under North Turner as his OC last time he was healthy. That might have been the best he ever was. And don't forget, the year he won the MVP, he was voted by his peers, as I always say, best player in the game. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, everyone was in their primes. Best player in the game, Cam Newton. And then under North Turner was a better passer than he'd ever been. Now he's got Bill Belichick. What did I think was going to happen? I expected this. This was my upset special. I agree with Stephen A. I thought the last play was a bit predictable. I was expecting a little Belichickian wrinkle in that play.
I agree with that.
And I was expecting them to win. It didn't happen. But you know why it didn't happen? Not just the Seattle defense. Russell Wilson. What you say, Stephen A., is we all have resigned ourselves that this is what Russell Wilson is. Nope. He has been consistently underrated. Belichick's right about him, too. He started out a different kind of quarterback, but like Tom Brady, playing for a great coach behind a great defense and being a game manager who was big on 3rd down, right? Really, Russell Wilson's not carrying the team. He's doing what he has to do, but he's lucky to be in this situation and all this. That was Tom Brady early in his career. Game manager, winner, big on 3rd down, defense and running game can carry him. Then a funny thing happened. As Brady entered his 30s and beyond, he became the real GOAT. Like he was putting up Peyton Manning numbers, right? And performing under pressure in the playoffs as he'd always done. That's Russell Wilson now. Russell Wilson went from a guy who's a good quarterback, game manager, ascending, like maybe where Dak Prescott is now, right? To an
Nah, I'd say he's better than Dak Prescott. Even then.
all-time great. He's 32. That's like a physical prime for a quarterback nowadays. He is unbelievable. His command of the game is so thorough. The way he floats that ball over the defense, the way he's constantly thinking, using his legs to get out of pressure, keeping his eyes downfield, breaking off runs when he has to, getting the ball to his receivers key with that kind of touch he has. It doesn't come out of his hand as pretty as some of the other guys, but he gets it done. 9 touchdowns, 1 interception so far. He's the MVP of the league right now. As usual, year in and year out, whoever you want to call MVP, you can make a hell of a case for Russell Wilson. He's at it again, an all-time great in his prime.
I expect that from him.
Yeah, Russell Wilson is an absolute beast. Like I said, that was a great game last night. I am happy that they won, even though I was going kind of for both teams because I like Cam Newton too. So let's take a quick look at Russell Wilson's stats. So he went 21 for 28 for 288 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. His QBR is 87.6, and he ran the rock 5 times for 39 yards. And DK Metcalf, he had a decent 4 times for 92 yards. That was good right there. But needless to say, Russell Wilson is an absolute beast. I mean, it was 5 touchdowns. I mean, that is just absolutely out of control. So, yeah, let's continue.
So Wilson, though. And much to what Stephen A. has talked about, when you look at Cam Newton and when he first went to New England, there was so much chatter around what you were going to get at the quarterback spot. Can he fit into their system? Are they going to run him too much? They didn't yesterday. Like you said, close to 397 yards in the air. Julian Edelman had one of his best games, in my opinion, not statistics, games of his career.
Period, yep.
Just how he was able to deliver the football to those guys in sync. Then you talk about the things that he brings, the intangibles that he brings to the table, they're following his lead. You know, and so when you look at it, you say, well...
Look at those 5 touchdowns, man. That is out of control. 5 touchdowns. I can't stress that enough. There's a reason why he was ranked the 2nd best player in the league today.
Cam Newton was a former MVP in 2015. There's no question about it. Norv Turner was his offensive coordinator. Throughout his career, there's only been 2 guys that have been superior coordinator. One was Norv Turner, the other is Josh McDaniels.
Right.
That's it. Other than that, he had trash the other way around. And he's a new system, new situation, new environment, total new team, and he's able to go on the road and do what he did on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty remarkable. Now, the last play of the game, neither one of you liked it, neither did I. But I also understand that they scored on that play early on. So they go back to it because they got the same look that they got before, and they immediately assumed that look was going to be there. That penetration from the defensive line wasn't going to push the offensive line into Cam's lap. If they push forward and not backwards, he walks in. It's a touchdown.
Yeah, they might have got a touchdown, but it seemed like Cam Newton didn't know where he was at on the field. It seemed like he thought he was on the 1 and he can just dive over and get the touchdown. But he was really at the 2-yard line. So when he dove, he only landed on the 1. So it was a bad call. I think they should have picked another call, maybe a fake run to Cam Newton and then tossed it off to somebody else. But even still, I think they would have had a chance of scoring if he ran. But it seemed like he didn't know where he was at on the field because he dove and landed on the 1. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
It's weird to see Belichick not adjust and the other coach adjust and win the game at the end of the game.
It's not that the other coaches adjust. They got the same look that they got when he did it before. This time, the offensive line didn't win.
Yeah, although Jamal Adams got penetration and got to Cam the last time they tried it, and he put a wrinkle in that Stephen A. pointed out when Cam passed the ball. I'll say this.
I'm talking about the time that he scored. It. It's the same look, the same exact look.
I'll say this about Cam Newton. No one forget this. He signed for $2 million in the offseason.
Yeah, that's for now.
He was a